Destiny, what is your least favorite food?
Chili.
Why don't you like chili?
Because when I was 3, I had so many bowls of it and I threw up all over my bed. Now I'm too scared to eat it.
Good morning, second graders. Today what we're going to be talking about is our learning target, I can add sensory details to my writing. Well, what do you suppose sensory details are? Sensory details have to do with the 5 senses. So the 5 senses are sight, smell, taste, touch, and sounds. And today we are going to practice adding sensory details to make our reasons and our details more interesting and stronger. We did that last week when we were talking about the Snickers bar, and now we are going to practice adding sensory details to our next writing. You could write about anything that you would like, but I am going to model today with my least favorite food. So last year, second graders wrote about their least favorite foods, and these were some of the foods that second graders last year did not like. So some things were tomatoes, coconut, meatballs, sushi, peas, fish soup, avocado, green beans, and chili. I don't want to discourage anybody from liking those foods if you like them, but these were just some of the foods that kids last year didn't like for some reason or another. So when we talk about sensory details, we talk about the senses. So someone might not like tomatoes because they're red. Someone might not like green beans because they're green, or peas because they're green. So sometimes the reason why we don't like things is because of how they look. We also sometimes might not like things, or we might have a reason not to like something because of how it smells. So if we're talking about our least favorite foods, sensory details to describe them might be something like stinky or fishy. Somebody described something as smelling like dirty socks or like barf. So sometimes you might describe something by comparing it to something else, which is called a simile, but that's one way you can describe smells. Another reason why you might not like a certain food is because of how it sounds when you're eating it. So someone said a food was slurpy, and someone else said the food was crunchy, and that's why they didn't like it. Another reason why you might not like food is because of how it tastes. So there's a lot of different ways you can describe tastes, and some of them are synonyms, which mean the same thing, but they're a little bit different. So some taste words are nasty, sour, gross, disgusting, salty, yucky, or awful. And then finally, some people might not like the taste of certain foods because of how it feels, or maybe they don't like certain foods because of how it feels in their mouth. So some descriptions of the touch sensory details are juicy, smushy, rubbery, chewy, furry, smooth, weird, and soft. So we are going to today try to add sensory details to our writing, and I'm now going to open up the opinion writing graphic organizer to show you an example of something that you might write. All right, so your graphic organizer is going to look a lot like this, where it's just blank, and all you're going to do is you're going to start typing inside your graphic organizer about your least favorite food or whatever other topic you have decided you want to write about. But I have already written one for us to look at, and it is about sushi, which is one of my least favorite foods. So here's my opinion. I think some sushi is gross. Reason number 1, To start, one reason I don't like it is because it is not cooked. Here's my example. In fact, I worry I could get sick from bacteria, especially if it is sitting around a long time. Another reason I don't like it is because it smells too fishy. Example number 2. In particular, it reminds me of stinky smells at the beach. Reason 3. Also, I don't like sushi because of how it feels in my mouth. Example 3. For example, it sometimes feels rubbery and chewy. Reason 4. Finally, sometimes I think sushi doesn't have much of a taste. Oh, here, this should be example 4. Example 4. In fact, I think it tastes like I'm chewing on my tongue. Conclusion. These are some reasons why I'm not always excited to eat sushi. So what did you notice in my example? Well, I had an opinion. I used transition words. I talked about how I didn't like how it smelled, and I said that I didn't like it because it smelled too fishy. That was my sensory detail. I also talked about how it feels in my mouth, and I said it felt rubbery and chewy as my detail or my example. And then I also talked about how it tasted. And then I ended it with my conclusion. So today your job is to write your opinion, your reasons, your examples about whatever topic you would like, but you could write, if you're struggling with thinking of an idea, about your least favorite food, or you could even write about your favorite food. All right, thanks for joining me.